Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have everything in the news today, from a smuggling operation that's not what you think they're trying to smuggle. We have an elderly couple, one of the oldest robbery capers that I've ever heard of is going on right now. We also have Carnival Cruise Line. People are worried that they're going back to the old muster drill because they've announced they're going back to the old muster drill. We also have a weird setting in Sydney, Australia, where on the Carnival Adventure, somebody started climbing the mooring ropes up onto the ship. No idea where this person thought they were going at all. And then we have another cruise ship that got caught in a storm and had a lot of floods. So in the first story, let's talk about the Carnival Adventure as she was docked in Sydney Harbour, getting ready for a sailing, disembarking passengers, embarking passengers, and one passenger, or somebody, decided that they were going to embark by climbing the mooring ropes up on the side of the cruise ship. And of course, they got partway up and then couldn't get any farther. They couldn't go further up. They couldn't go further down. The only way down was into the water. Now, the crew could be seen trying to coax them from the observation point, trying to coax the person down, trying to sit. And people on the shore were filming, and it's just a weird situation. And so you got to think, well, if the guy can't get down and the only way down is jumping, that could be very, very dangerous. How did they get him down? Well, they simply waited for the police boat to show up, pull up underneath him in the water, and then they started loosening the mooring rope until it lowered low enough into the water for them to take him into custody and arrest him. And currently he is still in custody, probably going to be undergoing psychological evaluation before deciding whether he's going to be arrested and fined or jailed or whatever. Just no idea what he was thinking, just not a smart idea whatsoever. Next, thinking of not a smart idea, we have a 76-year-old woman and an 86-year-old man were in a cruise port in Messina on a Celebrity Constellation cruise ship, and they went into one of the jewelry stores there and, calmly asked us, can we try on one of these rings? And, the shopkeeper, showed them the ring and everything. And of course, it was pretty busy apparently in the jewelry store. And she went to attend to somebody else, and the elderly couple calmly just walked out of the shop. Now, the shopkeeper did not notice the ring missing until they were closing up, at which time she remembered the elderly couple, she remembered the only cruise ship in port that day, and she contacted the police. And of course, when the cruise ship arrived at the very next stop, which was Naples, they were arrested and charged. Now, it's an ongoing thing. They are presumed innocent, but they did find the ring in their possession on the cruise ship. Now, it could be, could claim that, oh my goodness, we're 86 years old. We just forgot what we were doing. We didn't really realize we walked out with it. It was purely an accident. Or it could be determined that they willfully tried to hide this. They're going to go over the footage of the cameras from the jewelry store and determine if they were kind of looking around to see that they weren't being watched anymore, and then dashed out of dashed as fast as you can at 76 and 86 years old. But here you go. Two elderly, an elderly couple in their 80s, late 70s, 80s, stealing jewelry, apparently. Allegedly stealing jewelry. Next, let's talk about the Carnival Cruise Line going back to the old muster drills. And of course, people immediately start going, oh my goodness, are they going to get rid of the electronic muster drill anymore? Are we going to have to stand in the hot sun underneath, out on deck in that again for hours waiting for people to show up? Is that what we're doing? No, that's not what they're doing. Every 6 months, the cruise lines right now have to go through a mandatory one time only on the ships a muster drill, in-person muster drill. And the first one is today on the Carnival Sunrise, and then the next two will be on the 19th of this month on the Carnival Freedom and then the Carnival Glory. These are mandatory every 6 months. They happened on Princess, they've happened on other cruise lines, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity. It's still a mandatory thing that they're forced to do by the Coast Guard. So yeah, no, they're not going back to the old way. It's just luck of the draw if you happen to be on the cruise ship that has to go back to the old muster drill. Next, let's talk about the Carnival Conquest, as many passengers are reporting that they went through such severe weather, not so much that it was rough and like terrifying waves or anything, but a torrential downpour as they were on their way to the private island. Well, they got so soaked that many people reported that their balconies were overflowing and flooding. There was vents having to be closed, dining room got flooded, deck 7 had wet carpet, etc., etc., etc. That there was some flooding basically everywhere. The good news is that it didn't seem to be an overabundance of flooding. Like no major damage was reported on the Carnival Conquest. It's just an experience when you're out at sea and you get that kind of torrential downpour. You know, all balconies have like lips on them, etc. And if you're getting drenched with a downpour rain, it can fill up very, very quickly. And then of course, all the balconies in the area are filling up quickly. And when they start to overflow, it kind of looks like a waterfall going off the side of the ship sometimes. And people can get nervous, but it doesn't seem like too many people were inconvenienced, just another talking experience when you're on a cruise ship. And finally, let's talk about this smuggling operation that is being touted in Long Beach as it's believed to be the Carnival Forenza, just got back from a 5-day cruise, and 2 women were seen getting off the ship, and they had 10 pieces of large luggage. Not just like a couple carry-ons and a backpack and a couple big suits. They had 10 pieces of large luggage, which was very suspicious on a 5-night cruise for the border security there. And yeah, they inspected it and found 750 cartons of cigarettes, variety of Marlboro type cigarettes. And while going through, the women said, oh, we paid for them. Look, we have our receipts. That's not how smuggling works, folks. You're still only allowed to bring in so many of certain items, right, into the country. When you fly across one country to the other, you have to declare, hey, did you buy or spend over this amount of money, right? You're allowed a certain amount of money in spending. You're not allowed to bring 750 cartons of cigarettes. So it is unclear whether this was an actual smuggling operation and they were hoping to sell this in some kind of store, or if they were just hoping to sell this online, make a quick buck, if you will. This was a get-rich-quick scheme in their minds, or if they had possibly thought that, hey, you can't do this by air because, they go through the scanners and you have to declare things. There's much more border security at the airports than there is getting off a cruise ship. It's just facial recognition most of the time. So we can just walk through security. Well, no, they still scan your luggage, folks, and they still check these things out. So curious to find out exactly what kind of operation this was. Are they going to face charges? They could face huge fines and even jail time if found guilty of smuggling. Yeah. Or was this just 2 women who thought, you know what? If we buy cigarettes and we can buy them at $40 a carton and we can sell them for $80 a carton, we can double our money. And not only that, it pays for our cruise. This is a brilliant idea. Have a feeling that's probably because they immediately had their receipts and showed their receipts. I have a feeling they had no idea they were breaking the law. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? How about climbing the mooring ropes? Obviously a dumb thing to do. And then, of course, smuggling. And do you think the elderly couple knew exactly what they were doing with the ring? Or do you think they just Oh, I forgot it was on my finger and walked out. Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.